You've seen enough of me over the past day plus, but now I'm going to put on another hat that I wear, if you will. I've been speaking mostly about my experience through not only my corporate experience, but my company that I started through FJM Solutions. And now I want to speak about my partnership with Charita Davenok and a company called Travel for All. It's a Canadian-based inclusive travel company that provides really travel experiences globally around the world, and it's really everything that anyone could need for that travel experience. You know, it's not just the plane ticket, it's not just the airline ticket, but if you have needs when you are traveling with a disability for maybe a travel nurse, or maybe it's someone to help push your chair, or it's someone that once you need accessible transportation or a ramp wherever you are traveling to. We've built a network around the world of close to 400 local service providers that we work with to help provide these global travel experiences. So I want to talk a little bit about the importance of how employing people with disabilities in this space is really beneficial. So we've heard a lot, and I'm going to zip through a lot of these slides, and lucky you, my presentation hopefully will end early. Maybe not so lucky for Eric, because you'll be up sooner, Eric. But a lot of the information that you're about to see, you've heard, and I think it's really worth stating again that accessibility is no longer just for people with disabilities, but frankly for all of us. We've heard about universal design and the importance of universal design and why it's important, because it really does benefit everybody in our communities and not just people with disabilities. Accessibility is, as you see on the slide, is essential for about 20% of the population who has some type of disability. In the US, statistically, 20%, 1 out of every 5 Americans has some type of disability. And we all know that as an aging and growing population worldwide, that number will continue to climb. Accessibility is necessary for about 40% of the population. So if you think about it, if you take the 20% or so of people with disabilities and you add in their caregivers or family members, suddenly you're at about 40% of the population impacted by accessibility. And of course, accessibility is comfortable for 100% of the population. But we also know that it's often underutilized. Few countries, according to the first ever World Report on Disability, have adequate mechanisms in place for the needs, to respond to the needs of people of determination, and primarily due to poor infrastructure, services, and frankly, attitudes towards travelers with specific access requirements. And we know that we can do more. You've seen this number. 1 billion people, or about 15% of the world's population, experience some form of disability. People of determination have the highest rate of unemployment. The developing countries, in developing countries, 80 to 90% of people of determination are of working age, are under or unemployed, I should say. And industrialized countries, the figure is still between 50 and 70%. So people of determination are also underutilized. So are we doing all we can? No. No country is really using tourism as a medium to employ people with disabilities as much as they could be, if they do at all. At Travel for All, we think it's a smart move, primarily when companies in the United States hire people with disabilities, and especially in my experience over the years, Statistically, people with disabilities are more productive than their able-bodied colleagues. People with disabilities have a higher retention rate. So they're staying with the company that they're employed with longer, and they're more loyal to it. People with disabilities statistically have less absences, which is unfortunately, it's a stigma, I think, that's attached to people with disabilities that, geez, if I hire this person who has a disability, they're probably going to be out of work for sickness or other reasons, when in fact that's not the case. People with disabilities are typically experiencing less absences than their able-bodied colleagues. And people with disabilities statistically usually have an advanced degree. So for what we're doing with Travel for All, we've got an initiative that we call Access Locals. It's owned and operated by people of determination. That's one of the things that attracted me to partner with Charita at Travel for All. Charita has MS, and every person that works for Travel for All has some type of disability, so they get it. So when someone calls or contacts Travel for All for their inclusive, accessible travel experience, the people that they're speaking with or interacting with understand very personally what their needs might be. So within Travel for All, we have more than 60 years of combined firsthand experience in the disability community and what the needs are. As I mentioned earlier, we have an established network of over 400 accessible disability serving suppliers in the global tourism industry. And we created Access Locals as an initiative to create and utilize and train people of determination for a career in accessible tourism by promoting and servicing travelers literally all around the world. But we're really interested in what Dubai is doing. And we're very eager, if there is an opportunity, to partner with Dubai Tourism exclusively to implement the very first Access Locals initiative and employ people of determination. We think that this would be a unique opportunity to actually lend, I think, more credibility to this type of service. Because I think in most instances, when people hear information from people that are like them or experiencing situations that they are experiencing, it becomes more real, it becomes more believable, and frankly, I think it also becomes more personal, so that I think that the person is feeling more comfortable in expressing their needs and other things to the person that they can really relate to. So there you have it. That's my somewhat briefed presentation on Access Locals. We think that this would be a great opportunity, if not with Dubai, with anyone who would be interested in working with us and really bringing the number of the unemployment rate, I should say, for people with disabilities. Let's bring that number down. Let's bring the opportunity to people with disabilities to not only be employed, but to experience firsthand lots of things that I think will help drive the tourism industry and hopefully, once again, make the world a better place by leveling the playing field. So thank you again, Maggie.